I don't know. It's crazy the way he can puts himself in a hole, and then comes back with like these special, I don't know, like pitches that just get him out of holes. Mate, it's fucking unbelievable.
Well, Cranky,
Crazy.
I tell you what you do now, and here's a little tip from an old veteran. So, if you don't want to worry about that shit like people getting on base and then fuck don't hit the ball to me, all that stuff, you just want to focus on hitting. Here's what you do: get on first base or wherever they put you. You're on first base. Couple bunts come in, pick the fucking thing up and fire it in right field. And then the next time it comes up, fucking pick it up and fire it over the fence. Maybe a run will score on that play. And then you know what? Boom, you're a DH. Simple.
Ladies man, but I'm a man now. For courting 6 girls all at once they use me. My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very good.
And the Lolly drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.
Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is brought to you by Mr. Ned Custom Men's Suiting in New York City. Whether you're a professional athlete, celebrity, or just a couple of softball bums like us, if you're ready to ditch the old dusty suit and stop dressing like an animal, visit Mr. Ned, located at 137 5th Avenue, New York City, and tell Varm Hilly and Lolly sing. Welcome back, folks. Episode 31 of Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly. And Hilly, we're back recording our first new episode of 2023, and we're going down under. We're going to the land down under with Marshall Kronk coming on, man. What a guest to kick off the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this guy's has just had coming out of a year for the ages, I guess, and a year that people can only dream of. And I guess, as far as fast pitch goes, trending right now, right after Varm Matatosian would be Marshall Kronk. No
Absolutely.
question.
They're 1-2. They're yards ahead of anybody else in the game. Varm and Marshall are trending, but what can you say about this guy? We've talked about him on a couple of episodes. You hear guys like Shalesy talking about it. He's one of the good guys in the game, and excited for our listeners to learn more about him. And like you said, he's had a year for the ages, winning the ISC title with Kitchener, winning the WBSC World Cup with Australia, and coming away with the MVP honors in both of them. Man, what a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get him in here.
Let's go. Marshall Kronk. Hilly, we're back, and we got him. That's a friggin' ISC World Champ MVP, WBSC World Champion MVP. Marshall Kronk is here with us, Hilly.
Cranky, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, buddy. How you going?
Well, what have you been up to the last 6 months? Anything interesting, or just kind of laying low? Or
Oh man, trying to lay a bit low,
Yeah.
just traveling around, hitting some balls around, trying to.
That's all it is. Nothing to it.
Man, Marshall Kronk is the name going around the men's softball scene now, buddy. Just right out of the gate, huge congrats on an amazing year for you personally, but for the two major teams that you played for, the Kitchener Twins and the Aussie Steelers, man. We're going to go through all of that and more, but huge congrats and thanks for being here.
No, thanks, boys. It was a pretty special year. Pretty hard to top now.
Yeah. Way to go, man. Congrats.
Hilly, it's been a month, man, since the last one come out. This thing got it. We're going into a new year's, 2023.
I know,
Looking forward, buddy.
I know. I'm over it. It's dart season now. I'm over it.
Yeah, freaking right. But what's it like over there now? Where are you in the world in Australia? Brisbane, is it?
Yeah, I'm in Brisbane. It's hotter than fuck here right now. Man, it's ridiculous. You go outside, just sweat your balls off.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I sweat my balls off this morning too because I had to shovel the driveway before we went to work.
man, it's minus 15
Yeah.
minus 15 degrees Celsius here today. So anyway,
Holy Jesus!
Enjoy it, buddy.
I've never even seen snow. So
No, well,
Oh, you'd
I
love it.
remember. I remember when Shalesy first got over here, and when he first didn't start going back to Australia. He moved over here for good, and the first year with snow, man, him and Jen and going to a rink, watching hockey games and sliding and skating. Holy Jesus, man. You wouldn't know he went to Mars. he didn't know what it was like. So it was awesome. But he's slowly adapting to Canadian life. But we'll have to change that one of these years, Marshall. Get you over here on skates, buddy.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to it, man. I'll be like a kid in a candy store, I reckon, for about 2 days, and then I'll be like, fuck this, and going inside.
Absolutely. Well, we've been talking to you on and off about this now for a bit, and getting to line it up, especially with the time difference and how busy you are over there. I know a lot of our listeners are really excited to learn more about you. So let's just dive into it, man, because you've been doing this past year just things that haven't been done in the game before, and it's just very exciting. But want to get to know your career a little bit more, and I'm really interested to know when fast pitch really became a sport that you wanted to play in. Does it start at a young age? Where are you like many of the other players in the game where parents were involved? But how did you really get involved in the game over in Australia at an earlier age?
Yeah, pretty well. My mum and dad used to play socially. My mum played at like a state level, and then pretty well they got me into it when I was 4 years old playing t-ball, and then like 24 years ago. So I haven't really had a year off since then, and I just thought I was half good at it, so stuck with it. That's pretty well how it works for me.
So what state is it that you play for? Like I don't know much about it, but like a state or province or whatever it is, territory, like ACT or New South Wales, or how does all that work?
Yeah, I'm Queensland on the East Coast, the most northern state on the East Coast.
Gotcha.
Right on. Who would we know that comes from that area? Any prominent names in the game, or is it Kronk territory?
No, it's Zenon Winters originally from Queensland.
Who? Who the hell's he?
Zenon, yeah, just a little gremlin.
Yeah, he'll be coming on here now shortly too, which will be a good chat.
That would be a good chat, Zenon. There's also Julian Jamont, played in the Australian team.
Yep.
Riley James in the Australian team.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. I'm gone blank on me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of freaking ground to cover over there. We talk about it being in Canada, really large geography to cover and bring through, especially just for training. I know with you guys over there, the weather's a little bit different, so maybe you have more months of the year to get together. But how does, if we fast forward to whether it's junior ball or the Aussie Steelers, how did you get involved with playing at a higher level in the game? And how does the national team circuit work over there, the junior program up to the senior program?
Yeah, pretty well. You play this club ball down at your association. Like I play for Victoria Point Sharks out of Redlands Association. So when you play for your local club team, they pick like a representative team for your association. So if you go play state titles, I play for Redlands. We play against like 8 other teams maybe. And they end up picking you nominate for the Queensland squad. They pick the Queensland squad. You train for, say, 2 to 3 months, and they pick the team out of that. Then you go to the national championships, which are normally just gone actually in January. And then they'll pick an Australian squad from that. And then there's like minor tournaments in between they can do selection tournaments out of for the Australian team. That's pretty well how the whole system works, really.
Similar to us, Hilly.
Yeah. I seen some stuff on Facebook. Yes, like you said, you just got out of nationals, right? You just finished up?
Yeah, I didn't play personally. I had to withdraw. I had to leave at work and stuff. It's killing me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's the hard thing with it anyway, right? With when you're a national team player, you're playing internationally and playing in the ISC. You got to take that time to come across the world to play in the ISCs in our summer. And then if you put a WBSC year on top of that, you got to train with the team, and then you got to travel to the WBSC events. So the amount of time and sacrifice it takes, completely understandable that you would have had to withdraw for work reasons. But has that been a challenge for you over the last number of years, getting the time off? And how's the travel from Australia to North America, just as an experience overall, been for you?
Yeah, it really is a challenge getting the time off from work. Like when I first started coming over, I was on the tools, and they'd let me normally come for 1 year, then the next year they'd knock me back, so I have to leave and find a new job when I come back again. But the company I'm with now, they've been good for the last 4 or 5 years, but now they put a hard no on it. So the same process again. I got to leave and find a new job when I come back. But I think the trip to America is pretty. It's good, but it's rough. Like the trip there is rough. Like I can't sleep the way there, but the way 30, I think it's like 29 hours travel.
Yeah.
There and back, but then travel back's all right. But at least I'm tired and I'll sleep my way home, which is good.
Well, your famous saying is, geez, you're getting 3 meals on a plane. That's too fucking far to travel, Haley.
Yeah. I usually only get one. You drink through one and sleep through the other. You get the last one before you land.
Yeah, that's definitely valid.
So your first year over would have been 2014?
No, 2013. I played for a little team out of Iowa, Winterset A's.
Okay, yeah, I remember those guys. Yeah.
So how did that all develop? When does the ISC come on your radar, and how do you get involved with the Winterset A's and finally make the jump to coming over and packing up and leaving Australia to venture into the ISC, as they say?
Well, I've always heard about the ISCs, like watching Cheesy and Falk. I'd come over when I was real young. But I went to the Junior Worlds in 2012.
Right on.
And after that, I had a pretty good tournament. And after that, I had a guy named Shane McDaniel reach out and ask me if I wanted to come for the season. And I was like, oh, yeah, sounds good. Always wanted to come. So I just took the jump and had a go. For 90 days, I think I was over there for.
Nice.
It was a wild 3 months.
Winterset was Iowa, you said, was it?
Yeah, Iowa, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next year, so was it the next year you played with the Twins? So was that Jarvis Twins then, with like Opie and them, or was it Kitchener? It was Jarvis then, wasn't it?
No, it was. I think it was the second year of them being Kitchener, but Opie and Gordy and all that were there. Wolfie.
Yeah. That's when you guys went on a run. I think you guys ended up in the loser bracket, went on a run, and faced us in the finals, right?
Yeah, I think we lost on Tuesday to Bloomington.
Yeah, that was in Kitchener, the ISC
in Kitchener,
tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't put that together. So that your second year in the ISC, you go from making the jump, coming over with I guess you call it a starter team, with no disrespect intended on that, with the Winterset A's, which a lot of the top players in the game have done as a part of their story. But then you get to go with a storied team with Kitchener, and you're in the championship game at the home stadium for the team. That must have been a pretty cool experience, and you walked away with the all-world honor that year as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was all-world DH.
His first ISC final, and you hit a home run against us in your first at-bat in the final, if I do recall.
Do you remember all this stuff, man?
Yeah.
You're a friggin' elephant over there when it comes to softball knowledge, Hilly.
I said, who is this prick? Fucking losing after get-go. I was like, Adam, what's going on here?
Yeah.
He's an Aussie. Oh, okay, makes sense.
Super lucky they're pitching rocks at that you don't get all the barrel of it. It still carries a long way.
Yeah. For a good fella, like you're one of the good guys, as we say around the circuit. But the amount of times we're after saying that fucking prick Kronk again.
Especially the last couple of months.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But
I appreciate the nice word.
Oh yeah, there you go. But what was that? What was that year like for you? I guess going back to Australia after reflecting on that 2014 season, you belong. You got the DH. You got runner-up at the ISC. What did that kind of do for your confidence and just your overall thoughts about playing the game at a high level?
No, it was unbelievable for my confidence, really. I just kind of made me believe that I could mix it with some of the high-ranked pitchers. Obviously not successful all the time, but at least I can give it a go. But I think the funniest thing for me about all of 2014 was Zenon hit me up it was real late. It was like around May or June. It was June even, to go over and play for Twins because Jeremy Manley was injured. It didn't tell me I was going to be pitching. Just said, "Do you want to come play?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right." So he teed it up, get me over there, And when I get over there, he goes, "Oh yeah, you're the ace, right?" I'm like, "What?" So I get over there for the Tavistock tournament. First game we're playing the Gators, and the Gators that year had like all the Kiwi boys and Sean and all those boys. Get over there first game, and I get absolutely shelled. Oh my god!
I'll probably slide into the backup role there, coach.
Yeah. I didn't play again until ASAs. Cruiser put me in for an app out at ASAs. I hit a bomb. And he's like, "Oh, you can hit. We'll keep you in there."
No shit, really? That's cool.
Yeah, literally.
Never knew that.
Yeah. Well, because I one of the things they got written down here is just in the detailed notes that I do, I have pitching versus hitting written down, but because we said it, I think, a couple of episodes ago when we were talking. You've been coming up on the old Dust Up podcast recently, Cronky, and we were talking. It's like you said, Jesus, remember, was it Tavistock Hilly you were facing him? I think when you came in, you were facing, I think it was Hilly and then me, because Hilly thinks he's better now, getting older. He bat before.
I think it was Kitchener tournament.
Was it the Kitchener tournament? Yes.
Yeah.
You came in throwing absolute fucking babies, man. And we're like, holy shit. So, and from you, do you consider yourself more like a Dean Holine? I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dino, just a power pitcher, power hitter, or do you associate yourself more with hitting, positional player, pitching?
It's weird. Like in Australia, if I play I'm predominantly, I'm like the number one pitcher for like our team. Really, it's like I'll end up logging most of the innings, and then I'll hit as well. But then ever since I've started going to the States, I've only hit. So it's kind of like, oh, what do you class yourself as? I'm like, oh, in Australia, a pitcher. In America, just a hitter.
Yeah.
Too hard to work pitching,
Well, Hilly, you got experience in that, man. You got a very similar story. Top class pitcher in Newfoundland, can't get a sniff in the ISC.
I tell you what, God bless the pitchers that do it, because I know there's a lot of good hitting pitchers out there that don't get a chance to hit. But fuck, I never would have started pitching if they told me I couldn't hit while I pitched. Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck. No.
I think that's the scariest part for me. If I come over here and pitch, I won't get to hit.
Yeah, right. Especially get on those top level teams. There's so many hitters there. You can't risk injury if you're an ace pitcher. So you did the right thing. You went out against the Gators and you got absolutely friggin' piss pounded. And then your hitting got a chance to stand out. So that's wicked, man. But to go from that to pretty well a season where you didn't get to play a lot until the ASA come in, get your shot, hit a bomb, and then you do it again in the final of the ISC. So that's a pretty cool kind of turn of events and a quick snowball into the ISC career. And then you come back in, I think 2015. Was that the A1 Bombers when you made the jump to them, or was it another season with Kitchener?
Yeah, 2015 was A1 Bombers. That's when I think 2015 was last year Twins. 2015, first year Bombers.
You definitely play with the Bombers in 17 against us, because we faced off against each other in finals in what was it called? Grand Rapids, I think it was.
Grand Rapids. Yeah, we got absolutely shelled then too.
Yeah, it happens, man. We've been on the other end of a bunch of times too, but it's cool when you get over there, because it's different when if you live in the States or you live in Canada, but when you travel and the whole purpose of your trip is the 90-day stint. You're away from work, you're away from family, you're away from friends. It's all about being over to for ball. Hilly, we did it for a number of years before we got to the point where we were able to fly back and forth. But when you're there all year long, it's a long year. You realize quickly you're not a major league ball player going around to these major cities and staying in 4-star hotels and playing in front of 40,000 people in a packed stadium. You're going to some of these back road towns in Iowa and playing, and but I loved it. How did you find the grind of the ISC season and being away from home?
No, I love it. I love the aspect of playing every week, tournament every weekend, traveling around, seeing the country, playing different teams every weekend, really. And obviously it's hard missing the family and whatnot, it's the hardest part for me. But just traveling around, obviously playing top level ball, so many different rural towns. It's just a good experience. I love it.
Yeah. Does the family get to come over each season, or? whenever they can, I guess. Or
They've only come once in,
okay,
I think it was 2015 or 16, one or two. They came once, but it's just costs too much money with flights and stuff. So
fuck.
It's tough, man. Coming that far, just price of tickets, traveling, all things involved. But you've certainly cemented yourself as one of the emerging talents in the game, and now, obviously, after this past season and the build up to it, really emerged as one of the best players in the game. I want to take it back though to around the 2009. Now, you talked earlier about watching Cheese and Adam at when you were a younger kid and seeing them on the scene. Did you watch the 2009 ISFs where Australia won against New Zealand and Adam threw that no-hitter? Was that something that you were aware of, and did it have any impact, or did you kind of come on the scene after that?
Yeah, I definitely did watch. I can't remember if I watched the game live. I don't know if live streaming was even a thing back then, was it? But I remember because I was in the under-19s Australian squad at the time, and after they won, we had to go to an Australian camp down in Sydney, and Bob Harrow, the coach at the time, he'd come and talk to us in the meeting room the next day and be like, "All right, boys, we won the gold medal here. Sit down and watch the game." I didn't watch the game.
Oh yeah.
So we watched it, and then the next day come back in. "All right, boys, you did this wrong in your game today. You better watch this game again." So we watched it again. I think we watched it every day for like 4 days.
No shit.
Oh man, we could call nearly play by play.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. And me and Hilly talk about our national team, kind of our road to that and our experience on it. But there was a lot of it for us was, looking up at who was there first, having those dreams of, being those guys or playing with those guys. And, you fast forward, well, what is it, 12 or 13 years now since that happened. And you're, I guess, the only two guys on the team from this year's squad, and the 2009 was Shalesy and Folkar. But getting to play with some of the guys throughout your national team career that were on that team, how was that for you? Making that jump. I think it was 2016 when you got named to the Aussie Steelers men's team, correct? And then what was it? The 2017 was your first or your debut in the WBSC. Am I right on that?
No, I debuted in 2015.
2015.
in Saskatoon, yeah.
That's the year Malali took all the runs home.
Yeah, 2015. What a year, buddy. What a year.
Oh, my God.
But what was that like
It was a good year.
Yeah, it was, man. But what was it like for you to leave Australia? Well, I guess you probably would have been overplaying the ISC at that point, but knowing that you were going to suit up for Australia at your first WBSC, just walk us through getting the nod on that team and what it was like to suit up for the senior team for the first time.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Always, like you said before, always looked up to players like Cheesy and Gooley and Folkard. So to be able to get named to that team that they've played in and have their culture that they've started was pretty special. I was pretty excited. Although leading up to it, I got injured at the national titles leading into it where they selected the team. So I did my meniscus, had to have knee surgery, and by the time surgery came around to the time the team left was bang on 6 weeks. So I was pushing my recovery time. So I went away and it was awesome playing. Lead up tournaments all good. Lead up worlds fine. We come to the WBSC first game. I got injured first game after a single to left field.
You don't need to fucking tell me about it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir there with Hilly. That's when you were friggin' down, probably around the same time, Hilly, you were throwing up in the tub. Hilly gets, every 2 years, Cronky, Hilly gets food poisoning. It's you can set the friggin' Farmer's Almanac to it. But did that shelf you for the rest of the tournament, that injury in 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I come in for a couple at-bats here and there later in the week, but I think I had 2 more at-bats and that was it. I still played the ISC season after that, but it wasn't pretty.
No, it's a grind. Hilly, you can speak to it firsthand, just going through it this last month or so with your wrist and things like that. It's a different mental battle, having prepared so much and getting there and not having it go the way you want. But did you take anything away from that year? I guess you knew you had what it takes to make the squad, to play on it, and I'd assume at that point you knew that you belong within the top tier of the ball teams, and whether it's an ISC or on the international circuit, did it?
Yeah, I definitely felt like I belonged after I made the team. It's just kind of like a dampener for me after going away and getting injured and not being able to play. But I suppose that's what happens in life with injuries. You can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
No, it certainly takes. It's a mental drain too. Like it's so deflating. You work all season, like you're so excited, you're working hard towards that goal, and then to kind of not to miss out, but to more or less miss out because of a fucking injury, right? It's brutal.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's
Well,
brutal. But
it is brutal, isn't it? You
It's
like
fucking
that?
brutal. Brutal.
Yeah. Oh man, we fucking Shalesy does it every time we're chatting, whether we're on Zoom or on this. Yes, bye. Go on, bye. Yeah. Yeah.
I always do it to Ryan.
Yeah. But
I always
listen,
do it to Ryan Boland.
oh yeah. Well, Jesus, man, get on the 7th beer, right? You don't need any beer to get bowling to be hard to understand. When you get on the 7th beer, but you're going to have to start squinting and turning your ear a little bit towards his mouth to figure out what's going on, right?
Fuck yeah.
It's wicked, man. But listen, we're only going to be on here probably for an hour and 10, and I know our listeners are probably anxious to dive right in. But appreciate taking us back a little bit on we'll call them the formative Marshall Kronk years. But we got to get right into this past season, man. It's a season that you could call it for the record books. So I'm going to jump right into the ISC season. You're coming over, you're playing with the Twins again, and you guys, well, you win the ISCs, and I got a bunch of questions I want to ask you about that. But we had a terrible fucking ISC, Hilly and I, and so there wasn't a whole lot. We didn't really stick around and follow the last part of the playoffs, but walk us through that tournament, and specifically, the last couple of games from your perspective. And that championship game against the Gremlins was frigging awesome. So I just want to hear your perspective, and then I probably got 10 or 20 questions for you after that.
Nah, sweet. Last season this year was just different. Obviously, we had to solely around. I personally think Marta was the driving force behind us the whole time, just getting him to his pinnacle. And once he got to, obviously you could tell by the final, he was a bit throwing a lot of walks, but once he toned it down to the zone, man, fuck, he was untouchable. Fuck, he was good. It's just, but even seeing him bleed into like the who we played before that, Bear Creek Express, I think it was, or JB. It's just the boys clicked and were just hitting when we had to, and I haven't really got many words for him. It's crazy.
Yeah, you could kind of see Matta too throughout the season, like kind of like it wasn't like that lights out Matta like he was towards the end. He was kind of working on something, pacing himself, and kind of working on things, and then come IC time, and then he really tightened up. Then all you boys were hitting the ball, and tight defense just all came together at the right time.
Oh fuck yeah! You could tell every week. He started out the season like he was still good. It's just not like you see at the end of the season. You've seen him every week just get better and better, more Ks on his drop ball and rise ball. I'm like, oh man, this dude's going to, if he keeps going this way, he's going to be fucking untouchable by the end.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And that's by design, though. Shalesy said that when he was on for his last episode with us, Hilly, that he knows Matta, and he gears his game around August. The weekend tournaments, the round robin games are all a build up to peak at the right times.
I think a lot of the boys do, like Sean and Adam and Cheesy. Like sometimes you go to Tavistock and Kitchener tournaments and stuff, but then you face them in August at the ICs. It's like two different pitchers almost.
And that's bullshit too, Hilly. And fuck them for doing it, to be honest with you, because I'm after hitting 350-foot home run off a cheese, Second week of June, top of the friggin' world. Then you go to ASA, and then the guy's snapping off 82-mile-an-hour friggin' dippers biting in on your hands. That's bullshit. I just want to get that out
I
there.
agree.
Yeah, it's bull. And
I agree.
you're right.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers.
Needs to be brought up.
It does need to be brought up. But anyway, so you're going into the championship game now, Cronky, and it's against the Gremlins, who find a way consistently over the last 10 years of grinding their way through that tournament. They peak at the right times. And you guys as a Twins team, if you based it on team, the longevity and experience, they got the upper hand going into this. But you guys are hitting your stride too. What was the vibe on the team going into that game? And maybe tell us and our listeners what you remember from it, because you came up in a couple of clutch moments in that, and which led to the championship win and your MVP. But you walk us through going to the game, knowing you're playing the Gremlins, and what the game was like for you.
The whole lead up to the IC final, with the boys were pumped. As soon as we get down there, like I'm a really nervous player, so I was nervous as fuck, terrified. And then you can tell all the boys were fucking shit themselves too. Well, I believe we kind of didn't have a scheduled warm up. Like, it's kind of like, do what you have to do to get yourself ready.
Yeah.
So we get to every game, everyone's doing their own thing, run throughs, whatever you want to do. Get to the final, and like I run out in the center field just to stretch a little bit. I turn around, there's like 6 boys following me. What are you fucking doing? We don't do this. What is going on? These are lost. But yeah, obviously, like you said, Hill Gremlins, always great organisation, always grind to get their way. And they definitely had the upper hand for experience and years, I suppose. It's I don't know. I suppose we had the confidence rolling in with Marta, and our sticks were hot, so we were just going to take it to them with confidence. What we had.
Yeah, it was nice you got it in. Jeez, I was watching some of the video there. It looked like she was coming down in sheets. That means heavy rain.
Yeah,
She's pissing down rain, mate.
It's fucking bucketing down.
There you go.
We're taking that. We're taking that.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, all day it was pissing down, all fucking day, and then it kind of like by the time the final rolled around, it wasn't really raining as such. It was more like dewy, and the fog started rolling in, and I think it was good. Well, the final was good, but the outfield was fucking mush, terrible.
Yeah. And it wasn't the main diamond, right? It was the
the opposite, like diagonal behind it.
Yeah. So I got a question. So you won ISCs, all fine and dandy. Way to go! Hurrah! Did you? I'm only kidding. But did you guys know? So obviously that was the last year for Kitchener Hallman Twins. Did you guys know at the beginning of the season that this was the swan song for Kitchener, or did you guys find that out afterwards? And then obviously it's well known. A lot of 5 or 6 of you guys are going with the Niagara Stompers now, and just kind of fill us in on how that came to be.
No, we didn't know. It was because we were pumped, like leading it. This is before ISCs. I think I was talking to Schiller, saying like, "Oh man, this team we got a few years together. Like we'll be together for 3 or 4 years. Hopefully we can string it together and win a cup or whatever." So yeah, we go ahead and win it. We're pumped. Like, fuck yeah, we have a good run here. Hopefully have a shot at 2 or 3, whatever. And then because we had to drive back home to Virginia, and we get told on the drive home. We get a text from Jim that he was folding for whatever reasons, and that is what it is. And then there was all a big panic after that to try and find a new team, because I wasn't prawn before last year. So going on prawn, trying to find a new team. And, yeah, we kind of wanted to stick together. Obviously, we knew we couldn't stay together the whole team, but credit to Marta and Juan, Zara, really. They were the main focus for us staying together. They had teams jumping out left and right, chasing them. They just put their foot down saying, no, we want to stay as a group, if you can do that. And then that's pretty well how it all teed up with Niagara.
That's pretty cool, man. I heard the same kind of story on how that came to be. Obviously, the top players from that team are going to get a lot of phone calls from other top teams that are either going to try and make changes and add. And it's unfortunate sometimes when a top team folds and you see kind of the players disperse, but this is the best alternative to the Kitchener team continuing is at least the core nucleus of the team finding a different sponsor and continuing the quality of, the top level teams in there. But that's interesting to know that it's different when you know it's going to be the last year because you approach it, you're not dealing with the surprise at the end of it. But before we move on completely from the ISC, I do have a couple of questions just around a couple of things that happened in that championship game, because I was watching at home here on TV for the first time in a long time, because we finished seventh, and then we came home. We came home. And,
yeah. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm watching it up on the TV, and it was an awesome ball game, man. But you're talking about Matta, and there's a few walks there. There was 2, if not 3 times that he loaded the bases with less than 2 outs. And, things are getting intense. What's it like for you in those moments? Because any player that's played in an ISC or a major championship game and the game is tight and bases are loaded and you got the gremlins up, Hilly, we've been there multiple times. What was that like for you? And then to see Matta work his way out of it, that must have been pretty friggin' cool.
Oh, man, I was fucking shitting myself. Whenever he walked, runners would come around the scoring position, and I'm like, holy fuck, come on, Matta. I was just like, I don't know, it's crazy the way he can put himself in a hole and then comes back with like these special, I don't know, like pitches that just get him out of hole, mate. It's fucking unbelievable.
Well, Cronky, I tell you what you do now, and here's a little tip from an old veteran. So if you don't want to worry about that shit like people getting on base and then don't hit the ball to me, all that stuff, you just want to focus on hitting. Here's what you do. Get on first base or wherever they put you. You're on first base. A couple bunts come in, pick the fucking thing up and fire it in right field. And then the next time it comes up, fucking pick it up and fire it over the fence. Maybe a run will score on that play. And then you know what? Boom, you're a DH. Simple.
See, I couldn't do it because I've come over here many years as only a DH. And I'm like, first few years, like, fuck, this is sick. I don't have to field. I just sit back in the dugout, smoke cigarettes, and just try and hit bombs.
Yeah.
But
this is the life.
Was the first year. Yeah, man, it was. I loved it.
That's the name of this. That's the title of this episode too: Cigarettes and Bombs.
Well, Marshy, you would have liked being a DH in the early years with Hill United. They have the cigarettes on the bench there for you.
Yeah. I heard a few rumors about that. Yeah. It would have been beautiful. I think a few years there when I played Bombers with Devo, because I was DH for him. Every innings he came in, I'd have a cigarette lit for him, ready for him. I'd have one to me, one to him, ready to go.
Oh, man. He's a beauty to play with, though, isn't he, Devo?
Oh, he's a special breed, that man.
He is. He's one of my favorite people on and off the ball field. But that's cool, man. You were playing first base that championship game, were you?
Yeah, I played first base a lot that year.
Special position, man. Tough. Not everybody can do it, right? It takes a special breed of guy to come in and hold down first base, especially in those championship games. And you did it by better than most. But you came up big and at the plate that game. And I think it was more maybe the 5th or 6th inning. Hilly, you're better at this. Marshall, you played the fucking game, so you'll know. But when you drove you drove a ball either to the gap or up the middle to score the go-ahead run. Walk us through that at bat, if you don't mind.
I think it was it might have been the 4th inning, maybe.
Fuck, I'm wrong again.
I don't know. Probably. My first at bat, I hit like a pop fly to right field. That I don't know. I just seen it really well that game. Something about, I don't know if it was what they were pitching me or the speed was throwing. I don't know. I just seen it really well that game, and yeah, I just threw me a pitch that was good for me, and I just got lucky and hit one up the middle. Scored 1 or 2.
Perfect. Simple game.
Yeah, and then when you got Matta in, you could tell he was kind of going into shutdown mode. He got out of a couple of jams early. I think he struck out Ramaki. with bases loaded, which is a tough task on any day, let alone in a freaking final. And then, just and watching the last inning, seeing you guys get the final out, which didn't come easy in itself, and then the celebration. How was that to celebrate your first ISC championship with that group? And just walk us through the finally getting that out and knowing you guys are ISC champs.
Oh man, I got goosebumps now even think about it. There's some tough innings. Like I think we even threw a walk in the 7th, and then come back and struck out Xander Winters and Jerome, I think, and Wayne in the last innings. But after that, it was just, I don't know, everything was a blur. Running around, jumping in a huddle, and getting cleated by everyone. Special. Hopefully it's a feeling I get to feel again.
Yeah. Well, the way you're going, you might be feeling it now in a few months here with the ISC season. I know, Hilly, you got a few things to say about that now at the Bear Creek Express and all that, but you look like you got something to say. What do you got going?
No, I was just going to add on. I was like, they're all pretty special, but your first one, they got a different feeling to it, right? It's a feeling that's hard to duplicate.
Yeah, and it's cool.
Replicate, whatever the word is. I don't know.
They're both they're both relevant here. But it's cool though, Marshall and Hilly. The same thing. So you won your first one in 2007 with the farm, an established team, but you guys got to come back and defend. Marshall, you guys are not going to get that opportunity as the core group to come back as the defending team, but there's a lot to be said about having that core group to come back, and at least the players can draw on the experience of playing together, navigating that tournament together, and winning it. So what are you looking forward to the most now heading into 2023? And then obviously we'll get into the Aussie Sealer stuff after that.
Yeah. I think I'm looking forward to the most is just obviously the core of us went on to the Stompers, and then they've kept the 7 or 8 of their original players from last year, like the couple of Kiwi boys. They keep on Paddy Shannon. So I'm looking forward to getting inside Paddy's brain and getting some knowledge out of him with hitting wise and what he does and stuff like that. I'm just always trying to learn,
Yeah, well, you're gonna like when you get in with Paddy, you're gonna see his helmet, right? And under his helmet, he has the Sahayak, right? I think it's SAHAIC, Sahayak, right? And I looked at him. This is back in 2008 when we played together, and I said, Paddy, what the fuck does that mean? He said, trees, mate. He said, swing as hard as I can is my mantra, right? So then through that, he's like, Sahayak, my brother. And we used to go up, and he wants to go up and have who can swing the hardest, who can hit the ball hardest competitions. So I think you and him you guys are going to get on well because you swing as hard as anyone I know too.
I like that. It's good. I wish I could swing hard all the time. It's my back's going to twist around and snap off.
Yes.
Maybe open.
Wait till you're 38.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm fucking 48.
Man, I got to stretch here from sitting down doing a podcast, let alone I'm trying to swing a bat. But that's awesome, buddy. Yeah, excited to see that Niagara Stompers. There's a lot of good ball players that have played on that team for a long time, and now I know that core group of the Stompers, that have been there for a while are excited to take that next jump because there's no doubt that you guys are going to be ranked within the top 3, if not, well, definitely within the top 5. I would say within the top 3. So great to see that coming down the pipe, and I know a lot of us and our listeners are going to be tuned in to see how that team goes. Much the same as what we did this year, Hilly, with Bear Creek, how touted that was coming on. How are they going to do? And arguably had a great first season, now looking to continue on for 2023. But we got to get into this WBSC, man. And Hilly, you had a few weeks now. We're going to bring back up the WBSC now. Don't fleece into them here. But
yes, sorry, bye.
I told you, it's start season. I'm over it now.
Start season now, bye. But all right, you must be on top of the world over there, Marshall, after going through that whole experience. But can you again, walk ourselves and our listeners through what was that whole thing like for you? Because a lot of the focus was really on Canada and Argentina and Japan. Australia is always in the mix, but you guys came out and proved a fucking point. So what was it like for you?
No, it was an unbelievable tour. We all got together down in Canberra first. I had to play like a tournament first, and then after that we went to camp. And just from day dot, it was like just a tight bond. Like the boys all got together nicely. Like there was no segregation for everyone. Everyone was kicking back together, and just everything rolled together nicely into Palmerston North, where we ended up coming out on top of that again against Canada again. Oh, well, against Japan, sorry.
Our listeners can't see the big shit-eating grin on his face.
Someone's at the door there. I got to go.
Kids are crying.
I just had to throw that one in there. And then leading into Worlds, obviously, well, I seen us as a dark horse. I knew we had the skill to go all the way, but before Palmerston North, I feel like everyone counted us out, put a line through us. Obviously, we still had Folkard and Shales, and we also had Besgrove that no one really knew about yet, and he's a gem. So after Palmerston North, the belief was there for the boys, and everything clicked.
Did you? Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll touch on Besgrove, the young kid, there shortly. But did you know going into, say, Palmerston and the World Cup that you were going to pitch as much as you did? Like, was that part of the plan going in, or did that just kind of the way it worked out, just kind of the way it happened?
It kind of, I think I was planning to be fourth string. So I was cheering like, fuck yeah, fourth string. I'll get to pitch against, I don't know, lead up games and maybe one inning at Worlds if we're beating the team or if we're getting pumped. But then we had Leighton Reed pull out, and so I was like, oh, fuck, hopefully I'm still fourth string. And we roll into Palmerston North, and I didn't really get to pitch much the first 2 days, which I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I think I've dodged a bullet. And we played Japan. He's like, well, you got the ball. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I pitched the round game against Japan. I get a ball bounced off my forehead in the round game.
What?
We played Canada again the next day. And Langer's like, yeah, you got the ball again. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
So then I pitched. I don't know how long that game went for. Phillies. Did you go 7?
I don't remember being there, buddy. Anyway, what happened next game?
Well, we obviously played Japan next, and he's like, "Oh, how do you feel? You want to go again?" I'm like, "Holy fuck, yeah, right." He goes, "Well, I'll give you 3 innings, and then I'll check back and see how you're feeling." So I throw 3 innings, and I was surprised that he felt good. But I just kept going every inning, checking in. Ended up going the whole 7. After that, I was fucking cooked.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we remember, because we faced you guys, and the winner went to the final, obviously, and then we get back to our condo where we were staying, and we turn on the live stream, and you were pitching again against Japan. We're like, holy shit, he's not going to be able to wipe his ass tomorrow.
It was a tough ask. It was a very tough ask after that. I was sore.
Well, that must have been pretty good confidence. Well, one for you in your pitching and how you're feeling over there, but for the team heading in, like you said, you guys probably viewed yourself as a dark horse in other people's minds, but it had to be, a check for the confidence boost going into Auckland, and then like shit, you get to this friggin' super round, and we've talked to it at length on this new format, but I want to fast forward to you guys are in a position where I've never seen this, Hilly, in our ISF, well, since we've been involved in the ISF and now WBSC, where you're on the second to last day of the tournament. There's 3 teams left, and you guys had to play against Argentina, and you got to win by 2. How relevant was that whole super round for you guys, and going into that game knowing that you can't just straight up beat them in a 7-6 ball game or a 1-0 ball game. Walk us through your guys' approach going into that game against Argentina, knowing that if you beat them by 2, you're going to the championship. But even if you win by 1 run, you're not going to make it. What was that like?
Yeah, it's a weird format. Obviously, that we came out on top. I actually kind of like it now, but it's a weird format at the fucking time where the scorer the statistician kind of told us the day before how it was all going to pan out, and they said that you have to play Argentina, you have to win by 2. I'm like, holy fuck! Just beating them's hard enough, let alone nothing to win by 2. We roll in, get Marta's throwing, and oh man, obviously throwing Gem again, and we're 0-0 for 6 innings. So even at the 6, I think, like I said to us, all right, boys, obviously we've got to win by 2. If there's a gap shot with a runner on base, I'm going to hold you up because we need to try and score 2. I'm like, fuck me, Dad, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's interesting because you're bang on, and it's strategically it's the only play, or it's the right play. Hilly, when we were looking at that, we were chatting about it, I think, on another episode too. It's wondering what you're going to do. So it's interesting to hear that take Kronky on holding the runner up, not to get that 1 run, right, and then risk just only winning by 1. But what would you guys have done? Because we were talking about it. If they scored 1 run, you would have to walk in a run for Argentina to tie the game to try and get the extra innings. Did all that kind of go through your guys' minds or in conversation?
Well, that didn't really come up in conversation, but it was obviously in everyone's head. Like, we had a few little chats in the dugout, like, fuck, if we only score 1, I mean, we just got to load them up and walk them around and just back ourselves to get 3 outs after that, because that's the only real option you really have, right? Just if you want to make the gold medal match.
Yeah, so if you only score 1, then in the 7th inning, because they're home team, right?
Yeah, they were home team, yeah.
So you almost got to somehow let them score 1 and then go mad for 3 outs or get the 3rd out anyway. And so, like, what would you do? Or if you scored 2 and then all of a sudden they score 1 in the bottom, you got to let them score another one.
You got to,
or you're out.
And that's
right?
why I was asking you, Hilly, about
it's such a stupid format. Like I couldn't believe it when they were talking about the scenarios. I was like, what is this?
Australia loves it. Australia loves the format now, though. The world champs, right?
We're number 1 supporters to WBSC on that format.
Yeah, wicked. But okay, but you make it, and it was cool, and it was exactly by 2 runs, right? That's what you guys won the game, 2-0.
Yeah,
and
2-0.
It must have been a huge high coming off of winning that, and then like shit, now it's gold medal time, right? Gold medal game against Canada the next day. What was it like the night before, and then getting up leading into what would be, well, I guess your first international WBSC gold medal game with Australia? What was it like?
It was after the Argentina game. All the boys were on a massive vibe, pumped up. I think they even bought us pizza after that. Everyone's sitting around eating pizza, like top of the world at the time. And then couldn't sleep at night, too amped up, ready to go the next day. Just laying in bed, hitting my vape in bed, and just G'd up. Man. Just could not sleep. And then the next day, woke up, then felt like a normal day, just same old, felt like another round game at the time. But then rolled around lunchtime, man, I was nervous as shit, terrible. And obviously in the back of my mind, Canada just towed us a couple of days before that, 6-0, I think. 7-0 Mercy, I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Just towed us. Always in the back. I know, I had to come on the pitch, remember? But just nervous as shit, though. That was in the back of my mind, but obviously it just depends on what comes on the day, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the hard thing to do. Like you have to treat it like a normal day, because like you start, if you let the nerves everyone's nervous. Well, if they say they're not nervous, they're full of shit because they're nervous. But you gotta, if you let that screw up your routine, or if you let that get to you, then it throws off your whole your whole mojo kind of going into it. But it's a tough battle. Like,
Yeah. And well, that's the one thing you never want to look back and say, oh shit, not let the game, but let the opportunity slip past you because you're too focused on the what ifs and the nerves that you can't focus in and let your talent take over and just do what got you there. But I'm always interested to hear, what's going through players' minds and, is there anything different from a preparation standpoint? But for you personally, okay, you just came off a great performance at the ISC. You hit your stride in Palmerston from pitching and hitting. You had a good tournament up until that point. But what's it like for you? We're all saying we're nervous as shit and all that stuff. But when you're actually, say, in the batter's box or on the mound in these pressure situations, how do you handle the pressure and how do you like it?
To be honest, I love it. Like I'm nervous until like the first pitch, and then after that, I love it. Like I'm a real. I don't show it in America because I don't pitch or anything. I just hit. I'm a real angry player. Like when I get on the pitcher's mound, I'm like, oh, fucking bring it, cunt, let's go. I'm a real angry person. If like back home, someone like fucks around with me and wants to like, I don't know, take the piss out of the way I'm playing or whatever. Like I don't really fuck around. I just hit them. I don't care.
Wicked.
Well,
love it.
Yeah. You hold the conch.
Yes.
You got that ball in the circle. You hold the conch.
Lord of the Flies. Is it Hilly? Friggin' right, man. Literary Hilly. I love it. It's cool to hear, man. And you got to have an edge to play at that level anyway, especially in those games. There's friendships and everything, but you're representing your country and an opportunity that only friggin' 32 players have. There's only 32 players in the world that woke up that day and got to play that game. You were one. You were two of them, and you go in. But I was really proud of a lot of friends playing in that game. So just proud to see it. But Hilly, I do got to talk on the Australia side here now. But Marshall, you can probably speak to it. Shalesy rises up in those moments as well too. He had himself a hell of a WBSC and a hell of a championship game. What could you say about that guy?
Oh man, he's speaks for himself, man. He's a class above. Just hitting wise, the knowledge he has of hitting wise, and like his fielding abilities are unbelievable. Like some of the line drives he fielded during the week, I'm like, holy fuck, I would have wore out the nose. but he's just a good dude too. Like he sits around, has a beer afterwards or at the hotel or whatever, and he's just a good dude to get along with, I reckon. Oh, I got a lot of time for Shalesy. I like him.
Yeah, and it was. You can see the influence that he has. Well, one definitely on the outcome of the game, but I think probably the culture of the team as well. You lose a guy like Cheese from that program. You lose a guy like Gooley and Zenon. There's a lot of the culture goes out the door when guys like that leave, and you got guys like Adam, Jimmy Todd Hunter, Shalesy that carrying that on, but. I talked about it with a couple of different people around the Adam Fulkard influence on just pitching worldwide, but I can really see it in Jack Bestgrove as well. It's almost like when you see him pitch and deliver, although he's left-handed, a lot of the mechanics are the same. A lot of do you yourself see kind of an Adam Fulkard influence on him and maybe pitching over there in general?
Yeah, absolutely. Adam's got a massive influence over here. And I let him know about it too, and he does not like it. A lot of the younger pitchers back home all want to be like Adam. When I was younger, I wanted to be like Adam. I used to try and pitch like Fulkard all the time. But I think Besgrove's got like a mix between Fulkard and Cheese, where like got like a set like Adam and throws bullets like Adam. He's got a lot of movement too, like Cheese had a lot of movement as well. So I think he's a mix of both, which is fucking crazy.
Not a bad mix.
No,
oh yeah,
that's
right. Like yeah. He throws hard too. I thought he was throwing low 80s.
Yeah,
I think he throws it was like 130, 135. I don't know miles. Fuck miles. That's backwards.
Yeah, I'll figure out miles and then get back to us on that. I don't know. Unless I'm driving a car, I don't care about kilometers in the circle.
Oh my God. But,
He throws hard. That's what I say.
But Jesus, you're 18 years old, man, and you're going out to toe the rubber in that game against Canada. I'm assuming he knows, what some of the players on the Canadian lineup can do and have done, and he's getting the ball over Falkard in that game. He knows what Falkard done in 2009, but from being in that game as his teammate, seeing him inning in, inning out, what can you say about that kid's performance and his? He seemed dialed in mentally, like he wasn't letting the pressure get to him.
Oh man, even just watching him pitch, he just looks dialed in. Like his eyes are just massive and staring at the at punter. And then, but just watching him pitch is like, it's funny because you watch him pitch, he's so dialed in when he's getting the signals. I think it's because he can barely see, so he's just like really focusing on the signal. But and then after he pitches the ball, it was like any game that I watched him. Every pitch he threw, he looked in the dugout like looking at us for approval. Like, what the fuck are you looking over here for?
Yeah,
it was just something just special to watch, man.
Did he win your nationals this past weekend, or?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think they beat Victoria 7-0.
Okay, I was just scrolling through the Facebook video. I was just like, okay, I see if Numbnuts here now get his MVP award now, and fifth MVP award during the last 2 months. So scrolling through, but
no, he had to withdraw. He had to withdraw, but it's cool, man, and it's great to see him carry that on, right? Yeah, because we've been talking about it. Where do you go from here as a 19-year-old kid? Young man, but getting to the highest point you could ever get in the game. Obviously, you want to go out and repeat it the next cycle, and now he's going to go with the Gremlins. But it's great to see because we talk about how important pitching is and pitching at a young age, just internationally across the game, to see another guy of that quality coming on the scene. Hopefully that inspires kids that are 4 or 5 years younger than him to pick up a ball and try and do what he did. But it was a really cool story around the dark horse of the Aussie Steelers emerging. You came through big throughout that whole tournament, taking home the MVP honors again. Personally, for you, that must have been pretty cool to hear your name called to go up and get that along with your gold medal, was it?
Oh man, it was. To be honest, it was a major shock for me because, like, I heard him calling out MVP, and I was dead set was thinking, if anyone in our team is going to get this, it's either Shales or Besgrove. I was dead set on Shales getting it, and then when they said my name, I'm like, holy shit, they must have mixed my stats up with someone else's, surely. Because I don't know.
From the players and the fans watching it, there was absolutely no surprise in it or thinking that it wasn't deserving, but it was very impressive, man, very impressive. The one thing I know we've talked about it a couple times, but I got you on here, so I got to ask, without giving away any trade secrets or inside information, what the hell are you guys doing with these armbands? Shalesy told me when we were on FaceTime there last week, he kind of gave me the rundown, but what can you say without giving away too much around these armbands and the structure behind it? We've talked about it. We got you here. Can you answer the question for us?
Yes, I'll answer it. There's nothing really. It's pretty well just the armband has like multiple sets on it, which have each set will have like each pitch, so like drop outside, drop inside, curve outside, all your pitches you have, and then it's just pretty well. You look at the catcher will have their armband will be different. It'll say if you want a drop ball inside, it'll give you these 3 signs, and then he throws those 3 signs, and I just have to pretty much look on the armband where they are and what pitch it is. It'll tell me what pitch it is, what location it is, and then I just go from there. It's actually, everyone was getting confused with it looking like a computer screen, like the coach was sending out emails to me out there.
That's what I thought.
The pitch, but
how did you find it though?
When they first told me, I was like, "Fuck this! This is shit. I ain't a woman." But in reality, like it worked well, man. Like we get plays. Like I think it was Laskowski was on second base. He was calling pitches, And I was like, bro, just give up. You like, I can barely even get these signs right. How the fuck are you going to get them?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know. I assumed the same thing. It was some sort of table. Up, down, I don't know, 3 up, 2 across, and that was the pitch. I didn't know. I didn't really care, to be honest with you. I was more or less just trying to get everybody's, I'm old school. Look at their glove, look at their arm, whatever. They got to be like, if you look hard enough at every pitcher in the world who's pitched this game, they do something different on each pitch. It could be the most subtle little thing. You got to trust it. I mean, you got to be sure of it if you're going to use it. But that's kind of the approach I take. But
we'll see next year now if there's going to be New York Gremlins and Niagara Stompers friggin' armbands going on there. Let's see if that translates over to the ISC. I have a very strong
iPad.
Yeah, put it down on a belt buckle or something, right? But I don't think Bear Creek Express will be using it, Hilly. But we'll see if it kind of trickles into the whole ISC. But Marshall, buddy, thanks so much for coming on doing this. Congrats on what was a banner year for any player in the game. But we were looking forward to this for a long time, and for you to take the time out of your day over there in the future to come on here and chat with us. Absolute pleasure to get you on here, buddy. Thanks for doing it.
No, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. Hey, it's a good time.
Yep. Thanks, Marshall. Appreciate you taking your time. And I guess it's only 5 months away, another season. So we'll sometime in June, I guess. If you're over in June, we'll see you at a ballpark.
Absolutely.
And first round in the 10th is on the guest, on the MVP, by the way. So just remember that you see old Hilly Lolly floating around a beer tent. I'll make an appearance once or twice throughout the year. So just remember that.
It's weird. I always lose my wallet at bull tournament.
As Polkard, we got a rule. It's pitchers that buy beer win championships. It's a golden rule. You can't go wrong with it.
All right, I got you, boys. I got you.
Excellent. All right, buddy. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks for coming on. We got Lucas and Nick here. A little bit of rum ragged to take us out.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm a man now. For courting 6 girls all at once, they used me.
Bye-bye, baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very